welcome to the Journey Within podcast with me, Shobha Rana. As you can clearly hear that I'm not at the top of my voice today, but let's just call it my sexy voice and get on with this show, shall we? Well, the show is called The Journey Within Podcast. Here we talk about the inner and the outer world, the two worlds that we live in constantly. Our outer world could be our identity, the things we possess, our aim, goals, targets, our relationship status, financial status, everything that we have going on in our life for us. And our inner world is where all the processing of how this outer world is appearing to us happens. So, inner world is extremely important for you to experience the life the way you do. You would know of people who have a lot going on and everything hunky-dory in their outer world, yet their experience of life is not translating into a content life, a happy life, a joyous life. And there are people who have so less, yet they are so content and so happy. How does that happen? So this inner and outer world connection is where I try to deep dive into through the stories of my very interesting, accomplished, and beautiful guests who have trusted me enough to share their vulnerable stories with me. Today, I have a pleasure of welcoming with me someone who I really admire. Her name is Shruti Dhasmana. She is a singer-songwriter, has released a bunch of her originals on Spotify. She's been singing from the age of 6 and has toured with possibly all the singers that we know of in our country, Bollywood or indie artists or whoever you can think of. A talent house truly. And today she is here to share her story with us. Please welcome Shruti Dhasmana. Hi Shruti, so good to see you. There's something so divine about your presence.
Really? Okay, can you see it too?
I'm sure you're all of just 26 years of age. How is this such calm and such divine demeanor?
I think this is my pseudo semi Girival look for you. I
And you
said
know
to
what, you're
say.
looking like her. There's something about your skin texture. There's something
Yeah.
about your appearance that is very semi Garewal for sure.
Okay. I'm glad you're liking this white attire, and I think it's the color that's making me look divine today,
Yeah.
Shubha. But
Shruti, you are someone who has been through a really beautiful journey, a journey that a lot of us dream of. You started singing at the age of 6, and you're touring with some of the legendary names in Bollywood, some of the biggest names. The touring started for you at the age of, let's say, 16, 17, 18. That's the age, right? So, a girl who's learning music at home, probably from a teacher, doing her riyaz. How did that transition to a big stage with a big artist and the whole band and thousands of people in the audience? How did that feel like?
I think it was really exciting to see the glamour and the charm of the industry because you're always at home with your parents. You're learning for that moment, right? I mean, whenever your parents tell you that beta riyas karo, ye karo, so that you can sing well, you can sing your heart out. But then they never tell you that when you go on stage, there's so many people, the lights and the extra things that come with it. So I think it was super exciting. I was definitely lost in the world and it was amazing. I think for a child, it was so great that I only remember 1 year in college, which was a 3 year long thing. But I only remember 1 year in college, and after that, I don't think I deserve that degree. But yeah.
So you were living the dream, a dream that every musician at that young age has, to go to rooms filled with audiences and people applauding and cheering and singing your heart out. And at that age, you have so much of energy and so much of potential, and that all of this looks just, it's just magical phase to be in, right?
It really was. I remember my first international gig also. I think I was just 17 at that point of time. And that's when I thought, hey, you know what? Music used to be, I mean, I think it's very common when, as a child, you're in a family and your relatives are, wait, you just want to do music? Is that what you want to do all your life? Is that going to be your full time thing? So I think at that point of time, I had my doubts too. But I guess, music has given me everything that I wanted as a child. I mean, today, when I look back, whatever I dreamed of when I was, let's say, um, 12 years old, I think I have everything today.
What is your style of music that you personally like doing, creating?
So, as a child, I would listen to Lata ji, I would listen to Kishore Da, I would listen to Rafi Sahab, Asha ji, and Bollywood, was something that I was introduced to. I was introduced to classical music. I had my classical teacher, Shikha Ganguly ma'am, and, I was learning under her till I was 12 years old. And since I was in a Christian school, that's when I was exposed to Western music, gospel, and everything. That's when I thought that, what, I can actually do both. I love this bit, I love this bit too. And then I started listening to, I would cover so many different songs, not just Bollywood, but, still Indian. I would listen to um, um, Frank Sinatra, and these were some artists, Beyonce, Jessie J. These are some biggest inspirations for me. And as I was, listening to them, I would start to write something of my own, and that's when I knew that, I can write and I can make melodies, maybe simple ones. While I would even when I was, I think, in 12th standard, that's when I sang my first jingle for a radio. And I would be like, oh, this is so easy, this is just like a rhyme, and all I have to do is, just maybe put some notes together. And that's how it began for me. And I was like, okay, I can write music. So now the album that is coming out in 2023, my debut album, it's an album with 6 English tracks and 1 Hindi track. So I
Wow.
think that's when, I think it's a journey that, the whole album talks about the journey that I've had, since my childhood,
These are the songs
whatever,
that you have written.
yeah, what was inculcated, throughout that time, and even during the COVID and everything. So it's a
Are
uh,
you an introvert person? Like writers have their own process that they go into their own shell, especially music, people who write songs. So, what is your process like, and what kind of a person?
I'm not introvert, but I definitely have phases where I like to be quiet, and probably when I have, like, people that I'm most comfortable with, then you'll see me like the like a very chirpy one out there. But when it comes to music, I feel like writing music, writing my songs, they come from a space where there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of doubts, a lot of insecurities, a lot of um, questions that I want answers for. And I feel when I write that song is the solution to all the problems I feel. So I guess that's the
But
process.
how do you manage this confusion in your life? On everyday basis, we are making so many decisions right from the time we wake up to the time we sleep. And for someone who started working at as young age as you did, you must be making so many decisions constantly, and confusion is a large part of it. Should how much should I study? Should I invest more time here, more time there? Which city should I live in? Your father was a musician too, and he was doing shows with all these big artists as well. So, to make that career move or not, should I explore something else also that I have an interest in? How did you manage through all this confusion and this space and came to this realization that, okay, this is something that I really want to do?
Um, so as a child, I was introduced to meditation thanks to my parents. They were into art of living, and they thought maybe I can also get in and probably become like a good girl, and
Were
can
you
be.
not a good girl growing up?
I think I was very chirpy, very talkative, and super energetic. I mean, there's nothing wrong about it, but I felt maybe my parents felt that the energy can be directed, like in a certain way that I can use that energy in the best way possible. But I mean, that's when I got into meditation and yoga, and
What
I
age was this?
7th standard में क्या age होती है?
Wait, 13,
13, yeah,
12,
12,
13.
13, yeah.
You started meditating at that age.
So we would do yoga, we would do chants, we would do shlokas, we would sing together. And anyways,
Did you enjoy doing it?
I absolutely did. I remember, I would. Have you been to satsangs?
I have, I
Yeah.
have.
So
Oh, I love
satsangs,
satsangs.
I absolutely love satsangs,
Not the
Shubha.
religious kinds, but the yoga style satsangs.
These art of living bhajans,
Correct. Those kind of satsangs, yes, I
they
do.
were always a very, very important part of my childhood. They're so easy for anyone. Like, let's say I randomly call someone from the crew right now and I tell them, I'm going to sing one line, then you just repeat after me. So they were so easy for a child to learn. So I think at that point of time, it came so easily to me that I started really enjoying it. So that's how they would tell the children to sing the shlokas and chant Om 3 times and just close your eyes and just think about this, think about that, and a child would think about that. And yeah, there were so many processes that as a child I really enjoyed in Art of Living. So I feel that's what at that point of time, there was a very cool thing. Like I started shooting for ZTV and Takshari, and then Little Champs and everything, and then all of that chaos, and then this. I think it was maybe it was meant to happen for me, and both of them played a role in a way that every time I would go back to school, I would be like, wait, I like this, but I also don't like this. So I think maybe as a child, I started questioning a lot of things that maybe a child would not at that point of time, or maybe I don't know, maybe kids are that intelligent at that age now, but I would question a lot of things at that time, which would make me think whether I want to do this, what do I want to do about it, and I would write about it and I would sing about it
Did your meditation sessions, yoga sessions help you to gain some clarity?
at that point of time. I don't think I realized that it's helping me, but definitely after school got over, when I got into other things, there were so many confusions that I feel it really helped me calm down and think and take good decisions. I feel that led me here now today in front of you, Shiva.
How sweet is that? But you're all of just 26 years and you have already done more than 1500 shows. That's a huge number. How do you stay centered while you're scattered all over the places you're touring? How do you find your center back?
I don't think I'm centered at all. If you
Yeah.
ask my parents, if you ask my friends, but I try. I feel like I think it's not even about trying. You just start to feel that wait, I'm not home. Like I just need to close my eyes. I need to get back because suddenly you're not used to that chaos. I don't know about others, but then when it gets too much, I feel I I just want to shut my eyes and I want to get back because it just doesn't feel like home. So I guess if that is what is center, then I guess it just comes naturally. Like I want to come back.
So, Shruti, you were leading this life where you were experiencing a lot of excitement. But share with me also an experience that was very jolting for you, that sort of shook you out of your shell. And you were like, wait, what just happened? Positive or negative?
There are positive ones and there are negative ones. Which one do you want me to?
Okay, share the positive one first.
The positive one was just recently when so A.R. Rahman sir has been a big, big inspiration since my childhood. I remember dancing to his songs and thinking that, like parents telling me that, one day if you tour with him someday, that'll be the biggest dream. And it wasn't something that was conditioned. It was something that I also wanted. So it was just recently when I shot with him for the Rolling Stones cover, and he handpicked me as one of the top 24 winners for Nexa Music.
Wow,
And standing next to him on that photo shoot was, I think, it was it was I was blown. So I think that was one experience that I'll never forget in my life. So
congratulations. I'm so happy for you.
thank you,
Now,
thank you.
coming to the negative, jolting experience in this business. A young girl stepping into showbiz, exposing herself to all of this crazier part of the business. How has that been for you?
Um, Um, I remember I was 17, 18 years old and I was on tour. And I won't be able to name this person on this podcast, but um, I was harassed by this singer. And I remember being so naive and so um, not so aware to, not able to react anything like, around it. Like I was not able to comprehend exactly what happened with me. So I think that was one experience that shook me to a point where there was a huge transition for me as a person. I remember going from a very sweet and very soft spoken girl to a very bold one, someone who would, um, and I somewhere down the line really thank that experience. I also feel sorry because I know that a lot of people go through this.
Well, what really
And
happened?
I don't know if I should go into details, but I just remember touring with this person, and we were touring quite often. And I um, after the show got over, I was being told that the band is hanging out together in this hotel room. And then I was like, okay. And then I show up, and I just see just that person alone having dinner. And I knew that, wait, something's a little off
You
about.
could catch on to the vibes.
Absolutely.
As a woman, I
Like
think we have very strong instinct that way.
I think as a woman, sadly, in this country, you know this feeling from very like early on. You know what's happening, and as a child also, I was very like I would catch on to energies very quickly. Like I'd know, wait, something is off about this person. Maybe he's not feeling okay, or maybe this person is so happy. So I would love that vibe and energy about that person. But yeah, I remember entering that hotel room, and I knew that, wait, something is off and something doesn't feel right. And yeah, that's when this incident took place. And I remember being um, you know zabardasti hona, and then the person trying to
Touching you
touch me,
inappropriately.
yeah, and tried to kiss me. And then as a girl
You were a
who
child,
is, oh
17
yeah,
year old.
I remember me thinking everything wrong about myself rather than feeling, oh, wait, it's not my fault, it's this person's fault,
You thought it was your fault.
Absolutely. I think I was so naive that I remember going out of the room apologizing to the person that, hey, it's my fault. I'm really sorry. Please forgive me. Please forgive me.
What were you thinking? That you shouldn't have come to his room? Or
I think I was feeling sad about the fact that, I got myself into the situation. And then,
you felt you got yourself into that situation.
absolutely, at that point of
Whereas you
time,
were called,
correct,
you were
correct.
told
Yeah.
a lie that, everybody from the group is hanging out.
But I guess, that's what a child would feel at that time. She's just entered the industry, and she's thinking about a lot of things like, what if I push him away, and if I say, what are you doing, and if I question him, he might just speak, you know. Um, some things about me that might affect my career, and all of those questions around it. And then there's so many other things that a child would feel. But I remember being numb. I was just like, it shook me to a point where I just couldn't think properly after that.
But you were
So
apologizing and you left the room. So,
absolutely
what happened afterwards? Did this person come back, apologize to you?
not at all. But I do remember him confessing his feelings for me. But the very second, this was in a flight, and I remember this was New Year's, and we were coming back from a New Year gig, and this person was, yeah, he was just like, I really like you. I would really like to do, I would really like to see where we can go as a couple together, knowing that I'm already, seeing someone. And the very second when I did not, respond to it, because I was just like, I don't know what I feel about this. And uh, I just see this person, you know, I don't know if I should say it. We've discussed this already, but yeah, this person then had to say a lot of things about the air hostess in the flight. And
Commenting on her physicality.
yes, yes. And that made me feel like, wait, 1 second. As a child, I was really confused. I remember going back to my mom and having a conversation about it. And yeah, I think that was one experience that really
But you blamed yourself for getting yourself into that situation.
I did for a lot of for 2 years. I think I was still dwelling in that, and
I think
then
as women, and there are a lot of girls and women out there, when something bad happens to them,
yeah,
they take the responsibility or the blame for it on themselves that, maybe I should have dressed more appropriately. Maybe I shouldn't have been so friendly.
Maybe I
Maybe I
shouldn't
shouldn't
have
have joked
texted, maybe
or
I shouldn't have
texted.
smiled, maybe I shouldn't have, done this or that,
But
but
when you have these questions in your head, then you also start changing your behavior. Because when you're blaming yourself, listen, this is what I shouldn't be doing. So, what was your list of I shouldn't be doing this? What kind of person did you now become after this numbing experience?
um, I just remember being a little more, I think, assertive and fierce. I remember being I won't say assertive. I think for a few months I became very arrogant. I think I started to shut people off because I was like, what if this person is taking advantage of me? Because when you have these conversations with your parents and your friends, most of the time they'll definitely understand everything. Like I remember my parents being very supportive and my mother being very, very supportive. She telling me that I had no part in this. She told me that, hey, babe, I think you were absolutely fine, and this is the man. Um, who's not
I'm
okay
so
here.
glad that you had that support at your home.
Oh yes,
Because a lot of times, your people from your home, they start questioning you, or they start telling you, keep it under the carpet,
oh
don't say
yeah,
it out loud, or maybe
absolutely,
you should do this or you shouldn't do this. I'm so glad that you at least found support in your immediate family.
absolutely, and I think what really made the difference for me and what really helped me get back on track properly was this transition because it takes time. This incident was so like nobody expected this to happen, right? But I remember um, that because of me getting like me shutting myself off and then seeing the repercussions on other people, like my behavior change and everything, I think it all led to a better version of me because I learned not just from the experience where I was the victim, but also later on when I became arrogant and I started thinking that maybe if I try this behavior on different people, like let's say if I stop letting people taking advantage of me, which I would always start to how like let's say you're
You
being
become
robbed
extra
once.
conscious.
Yeah, let's say you've been robbed once, so you'll be like wait, maybe ना अभी ये बंदा भी मेरे से चोरी कर सकता है, ये भी कर सकता है, so let me be so like close to my
Protected.
purse that I'm not gonna keep it anywhere else. So you become a little too extra,
Paranoid also.
yeah, you're too cautious. So I think that's what happened. And I remember in college being very intimidating as a girl, which was never a part of my personality, but that affecting a lot of other girls around me. I was in Gargi, Delhi University, so I was in a girls' college, and I remember I had an a cappella group, so I was in the music society. So I was the president of the music society, and I was leading it. But as a leader, sometimes you need to know the balance, right? Like how can you talk to people, and how can you like lead things in a certain way so that you're not hurting anyone. But I remember that being a chaos and a mess because this child was going through something, and because
So, a
of those
child who is just
experiences,
17 years old, who has had this numbing experience where she's now doubting others, she's doubting people's intentions,
oh yeah,
she's worried that if she'll be taken advantage of. At that
absolutely,
age, when she had to go out in the world and make friends, there she's closing herself. Of course, a lot of good learnings came out of that, phase two in the hindsight. But at that point, you want to experience life as a 17-year-old, as a person who has come to the college,
yeah,
who is here to make friends,
right,
but you're closing yourself off, and I'm sure that was a very, very tough time. And what other people see, no, they see the arrogance, they
yeah,
see the intimidating
yeah,
person, they see rudeness, they see the mess that you are, but nobody really knows what is the underlying reason for all of this behavior to be on the surface,
right,
because people don't have the time or even at that point the wisdom to scratch beneath that surface and see, okay, this is a very genuine, normal, simple girl with dreams just like any other girl, friendly, has her own aspirations, mood swings, la la la,
yeah.
right? People start putting so many labels on you that impacts your interpersonal relationships at that point, whether it was friendships, whether it was leading a society in your college, or dreaming for even bigger things in life at that point.
Right,
I
right.
feel very sorry that you had to go through that phase.
No, absolutely not. I somewhere, good thing is that now I really thank that experience because whatever I am today, that experience had like it added so much to my life, in a good way or a bad way. And I feel, everything, even those bad experiences in college, or maybe those arguments, and since this show is about, talking about our insecurities, and being vulnerable, and I've never spoken about these, especially about the college days. I've never spoken to anybody
But
about
did you make a lot of friends in college?
uh
Because you were this
no,
changed
not so
person now,
much.
no? When you build a wall around yourself, the negative side to building a wall around yourself, that wall can protect you from, let's say, potential danger, if at all it exists out there. But it also shields you from all the goodness that you can experience.
Yeah,
People, that ease that people can come to you with, those genuine friendships that you can really make and can continue with for
absolutely,
life.
absolutely. No, I really am so grateful, because in college I did make friends. Not so many though, because I was hardly in college, like I told you. I was only there. I remember only going to college for music and never to study, which is a bad. I mean, don't learn that from me. So, but I would say that I'm glad those things happened, because they taught me. They had to happen. I had to learn something from it that I wasn't learning before, and I feel those lessons were learned well, and that has added so much in terms of knowing that those people who I used to feel are not understanding me, well, I understand them now. I understand that all of us are stories. Like, I don't know, Shubha, how much you believe in this, but I feel all of us are living the same lives, the same stories, just at different timings, I think, because I think all of us are so similar.
I think all of us are so similar. Our journeys are so similar. You know why? Because the end goal, the quest is the same for everyone.
Yeah.
Whether it's in the outer world, everybody wants to make more money. Everybody wants to be more, be a bigger achiever in life. Everybody wants to have a good home to come to, good relationships, and all of that. And on the inner world, everybody's in the quest to gain more peace, to
Yeah,
gain some wisdom, to be
absolutely.
calm, to be happy, to be joyous,
Oh,
and to
yes.
just experience life, right?
Absolutely.
So I think because
Absolutely.
our quest is same. Now
Mm-hmm.
for you, the rasta could be music. For me, the rasta could be hosting, podcasting. For
Absolutely.
somebody, it could be an engineering job or whatever it is. But
Yes.
at the end, whatever we are going after,
Is that? It's
is
the
that right?
same thing.
सो
Same
रास्ते
thing.
अलग अलग भी हों लेकिन मंजिलें जो हैं सबकी मोर और लेस सिमिलर
Sub
है.
same है.
इसीलिए
Yes.
जो हमें अंदर फील करते हैं ना वो सबके लिए मोर और लेस सेम और अगर सेम नहीं तो सिमिलर तो है ही.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think that is where we connect with each other as humans. And that is the whole idea of bringing this podcast in, that people, viewers, whoever is watching our story here, whatever they are stuck with in their life with right now, whatever they are feeling is the biggest setback in life, or it's a mountain that they are not able to scale up. Stories like yours, these stories give hope. Listen, आपको लग रहा है आप इस माउंटेन पे नहीं चढ़ पा रहे हो लेकिन मेरे पास भी एक माउंटेन है जिस पे मैं भी नहीं चढ़ पा रही.
Oh, yes.
And I'm doing this, I'm healing myself like this, I'm learning like this is my learning curve. और अगर यहाँ से आपको कोई एक दो बातें अच्छी लगती है तो you can probably
Yeah.
follow those things. That's the honest intent with which this podcast is started. But thank you,
Absolutely.
Shruti, for sharing that story with me, with our viewers. I don't want you to revisit a bad experience in your life, but
Not at all.
I also want everybody to sort of see that we are as vulnerable as the next person.
All of us.
And these things happen. Unfortunately, we experience them to different degrees at different point in times in our lives. And victimizing or blaming yourself for this is not okay. When we are younger, we don't know any better, so we start blaming ourselves, and we are scared that maybe he can hurt my career, maybe he can say ill about me. Who will trust me if I say this outside? All of that. But I would just encourage every girl who is listening to us that please have the courage to share your story, to speak it out, because now truly the times have, I wouldn't say they're 100% we are where we should be as a society, as a community, as a world, but we are sort of getting a little better in that space that
Oh, yes.
we are
Oh,
making
yes.
room for conversations.
I wish someone told me that day when I was,
Going through
going
all
through
of
this.
this.
Though that's all fine, but I think whoever is listening to us right now, I just hope all the ladies out there, even the gentlemen, I feel कभी भी कुछ अगर गलत हो जाए, I think one thing that nobody can take away from us is is the talent that we have, the hard work, that we've done. So उसके साथ तो आपको कोई नहीं छीन सकता आपका career. I wish someone, just tapped on my shoulder and said, you know what, if you're great at singing, nobody can take that away from you. Because I think that one thing really made me go really, like,
कि मेरे जो
the
सारे सपने हैं वो
correct, वो
सिंगिंग से
कहीं,
जुड़े हुए हैं,
yeah, what if
और अगर इसने
I
जाके कुछ बोल दिया इंडस्ट्री
correct,
में, मुझे
what will
काम
my
ना मिले.
family feel, what will happen, what my parents feel अगर मेरे को, अगर next, gig नहीं मिला या मैं आगे tour नहीं करती, then what will happen, and I'm just this, I'm so small, right, और मैंने अभी से सब बिगाड़ दिया. I wish मैंने उस time पे सोचा होता कि it doesn't matter, the reason why I was doing music, or the reason why whoever is doing whatever that you're doing, it's only because you like to do it, and if you keep doing it, nobody can hurt you. I wish someone told me at that time. So
Nobody is the writer of your story, and nobody can control or destroy.
yeah.
If you keep, somebody can, I'm not saying nobody can hurt your career. There are evil people, and sometimes people are in that position of power that they may hurt you or whatever. But if you enjoy what you enjoy doing and you keep doing it with consistency, the
Yeah.
truth, I think, in a span of time, always outshines all of this other chatter that might just get built about you. And it could be initiated by whoever with whatever intentions, but as long as you are clear in your head and you're going ahead with your intentions. But I can totally imagine the trauma that you go through in that phase when you're going through it. So how has your journey of healing, you said you were in this phase for about 2 years, so how was your journey looking like at that point, and how did you start, and when did you start recognizing that, hello, listen, this is not my mistake? Was there somebody who told you this, or did you come upon to this realization on your own and you start healing yourself? Just take me through that.
I think when I was in college, of course, a lot of people came and told me that, Shruti, maybe this is not working out, maybe the way you're speaking to us, maybe you're conveying the right thing, but maybe the tone is not right, maybe the way you're choosing to convey the message is not coming out right. So I would keep getting these messages, right, from friends, from colleagues, and and usually this would only happen in college because that's the only place where I can. Lead the pseudo leadership behavior or whatever, because other places, I just have to go and gig and not really interact so much. But I remember interacting so much in college because of the way things were planned. I would go in the morning, do my classes, and then only sing and everything. So but that's when I knew that, hey, maybe something is not right, or maybe I didn't even get to know when I changed. And I think that's when I paused a little bit. And I remember at that point of time, my grandfather passed away. And death firsthand shook me to a point. That was another jolting experience. It shook me to a point where I was like, 1 second, something is off and I need to really correct it right now. And I remember questioning everything at that time, because when somebody as close as my grandfather was insanely close to me, and when you lose someone, when you know that, oh, I'm not going to see this person anymore, I won't be able to speak with him anymore, something happens to you. You go back to those questions. Hey, why am I here? Why have I been so indifferent to other people around me? And let's say, even if they're not understanding what I'm trying to tell them is probably right, but what is going wrong in my speech that is going off, or many other things with my music, where I would feel that, wait, what am I doing with my career now that Dadaji is gone? I'm going to go too, my parents are going to go, you're going to go, all of us are going to go. So why am I doing this? What's happening to me? And these questions would blow me to a point that it got irritating. And I think that's when I went back to my meditation. And I remember being very regular at that point of time. I think this was 2017, 18. And something happened, and I think um, I just started meditating every day. And I knew that some behavior patterns that I had to break were gradually broken down. And then I knew that maybe if I'm saying, hey Shubha, can you do this, I would probably say, Shubha, could you please do this so that this can help us in this process. So the awareness of rethinking my sentences, and just to start with, very little
So
things.
death brought you more closer to your own life. You were able to reflect upon the areas where you were not being
I think
a nice person,
closer to becoming a better version of
a better
myself.
version of yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. Because I think that's when you realize that hey, something is not right about what we've been thinking every day. Because जब आप रोज सुबह उठते हो, आप हमेशा भूल जाते हो कि हर दिन इज़ वेरी डिफरेंट. बट क्योंकि वो रोज़ रोज़ वही चीज़ें होती रहती है, तो मे बी हम भूल जाते हैं कि वेट, दिस विल एंड सून. So then you start to make a difference with how you're talking to people, how you're doing things, even with your career or even with what you're gonna order next, your food, the way you're doing your morning routine.
Shruti, let me just stop you for a second and tell you that there's a whole sense of some divinity to your presence, calmness, sense of ease, your elegance, the maturity with which you're talking right now. It is a result of a lot of self work that has gone in. And I'm just so happy that you could recognize a window in your life so early on to do that. Because I think all of us get that opportunity. Somebody gets it in the form of as unfortunate an instance as you had to go through. I'm sorry about that, but all of us go through certain things in our life experiences which could be a probable window for us to reflect and पीछे मुड़ के देखना कि यार मैं actually में let me pause, what am I really doing, is it really needed for me to be this way. I think most of us don't take that opportunity on, and we just go on with the life because we are too young, we are too busy living a life, making a life, aspiring, aiming. But your story is very inspirational there that you could take a pause. So yeah, congratulations on that, and all of that self work shows.
Thank you. Does it? Are you sure about it?
Absolutely 100%.
Thank you, thank you. It means a lot coming from a person who is already like killing it with everything. And I'm so glad that I could be a part of this beautiful podcast today.
Shruti, so this person who talks about all these beautiful positive things has a very exciting life
Yeah.
and months ahead. You've just shifted to a new city, to Bombay. You're trying to make a living there. You already are doing a lot of work. So what is the plan for, let's say, next 6 months?
Now that we are almost done with 2022, I think one thing that I'm really looking forward to is 2023 with my debut album. And I think that's something that I've been working on since last 2 years. And because it's something here and there, and we've just launched a new project called SD Live 2.0, which is a new production with my band. um, uh, this album is going to be another thing that I'm really looking forward to. So I think that Bombay, shifting to Bombay, meeting new producers, meeting new people, I think that's something that I'm really looking forward to. And I think this will add a lot to the album that is coming out um, this year, the next year, sorry.
I wish you all the best with that album, and I'm sure it's gonna do great. Your numbers are already doing good rounds on Spotify, on other platforms where you launch your music videos. Shruti, there's a lot of excitement to look forward to in 2023 for you. But is there anything that you're like worried about or are scared of? Like excitement also comes with its own set of those hidden insecurities and those little voices in your head, they keep coming to you. And
So about insecurities, Shubha, I think during COVID, all of us were at home, right? And all of us were trying to do something in a way that our work doesn't stop. So I had a home studio, and I would record everything from there and send it to people I was working with. So to my surprise and to my team's surprise, I think we worked a lot during COVID, and thanks to the home studio. But I got so used to it, so used to that comfort of recording at home. I think one thing that I've recently started recording again in the studios, going to the studios and recording properly because, of course, the equipments and everything that comes with it. It's definitely better than your home studio, right? So now that I go back to the studios and now that I shifted to a new city, going to the studios will be a regular thing. One thing that I'm really don't know if I'm insecure about it, but I'm definitely, there has been a lot of doubts because I still need to record the some of the final songs ke vocals I have to record for the album and for the other singles that we're working on. So sometimes I feel, wait, will it come out better because I have been at home and I've been so comfortable in that setup. Because I remember being in the studio and I was a little like, wait, this feels a little different. So I remember being a little, um, I would
Nervous
say,
about it.
Hanji,
Nervous about it.
definitely nervous about it. It felt different. So that's one thing. And another thing, a lot of people keep telling me, you shift to Bombay, but since all of us from Delhi, whenever we shift to Bombay, they always say that, oh, it's expensive, it'll be hard, ज़्यादा खर्चा मत करना वरना वापस आना पड़ेगा अगर ये किया तो वापस आना पड़ेगा फिर how they keep saying वापस आना पड़ेगा. So even though it doesn't affect me so much because honestly speaking, like I'm very chill with coming back. It's not a problem because again, it's part of my journey. But somewhere down the line, that sentence has been said so many times now. Wapas aana padega. I will not lie about it. Somewhere in my heart, I'm like, okay, what if अगर मैंने ये ढंग से नहीं किया तो वापस आना पड़ेगा. So I feel a lot of us, whoever is shifting to a new city, it feels great. But again, I still don't feel like I've shifted to Bombay. It's just, I think I've had the house since last 30 days. But since this is the season time, I've only stayed in that house for like 5 days. So I still don't feel like I've shifted to Bombay abhi tak. But I'm really looking forward to it. There are a lot of things that are coming up, and I'm very excited to, announce them. And Bombay looks very bright as of now. But yes, if you ask me if there's a fear, then I think that fear is of the unknown. What if that happens? What if that happens? But again, it's just a little bit because the sentence has been said a lot of times. But I feel I keep telling myself that it's okay. Even if it happens, it's fine. It's just a part of the plan.
I am so happy that you opened up a conversation, that you had the courage to share your story on a public platform where a lot of people who are going through unfortunate circumstances. I really hope if one thing people could get out of this episode is that don't blame yourself for whatever wrong is happening. Take responsibility, improve your condition, improve your situation, learn from your mistakes, but don't sit on the blaming position.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree with that. I think one thing that I also take back from this podcast is that, everything, we keep saying this, that everything happens for a reason, it's all going to be fine. But in that moment, in that chaos, a lot of things can affect you in a way that you change yourself. So I think just moving with it and letting it all happen and just making sure that you're just accepting it and knowing that it's all going to be fine, I think is what will help us, especially the women, I feel. I just hope in this industry or maybe somewhere else, let's never blame ourselves. Maybe that can be our affirmation for this podcast. Let's never blame ourselves that something is wrong about us. Maybe let it happen and it'll all happen for the best.
Beautifully said. So, Shruti, on a parting note, in the life that you have lived so far, what are your top three learnings that you'd like to share on this platform?
One thing that has really helped me since last few years and something that I'm really working on is just putting everybody else first and thinking about them first, because like basically being in other people's
Empathetic.
service, yeah, being in other people's service, and kindness comes with it. Then I feel kindness is another thing, and compassion. uh, I've noticed that every time I've even thought about something of that sort in a tough situation, suddenly I find solutions. So maybe um, um, I have a very dear friend. He keeps telling me that, you know, the moment you start thinking about other people's comfort, suddenly there'll be a sense of something good that makes you feel here. Suddenly everything will seem fine. So I think these are some things that I'm still applying, still practicing. There are days when I lose it really, I really do, but I'm still practicing. I'm still
So, what you're talking about basically is empathy, that feeling of understanding other people's situation
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
taking your decisions or taking your actions and reactions from that place. I think it's a great, great space to think from. Being empathetic, being kind, being compassionate. I think we need a lot of this going forward. So, Shruti, if I ask you to put a structure to your healing journey, like from where does one start and what is the process like? Could you just give something to me there to work with?
For me, it all started from how even you mentioned it, Abhi, is by realizing that something is wrong. Not wrong, like something is off, about something that you've been feeling yourself, about yourself. And once you find out, like for me, it turned out to be my tone, or me being intimidated, or not letting everybody around me feel comfortable at that point of time. So I could also feel that discomfort. So, pointing that out. And I think once you point that out, half of the battle is won. So once that happens, I feel, you can always, maybe before going to bed, you can always just close your eyes, just go through the whole day. What did you do right? Probably pat your back for that, and whatever that went wrong, then just go through it, and then, say that maybe I won't do this again tomorrow. I'll try to um, make it better, and then maybe just close your eyes maybe 15 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day, and just close your eyes and probably just breathe, take long breaths. I think that really helps sometimes, especially when you don't have time to meditate. I think just taking long breaths can really help.
That can be a very cathartic experience.
Absolutely. I feel sometimes when you're, let's say, going through an episode or some chaos, like today, if you're going through something, just closing your eyes and taking long breaths and just being with the breath, like being in the moment, can really just bring everything back.
Self awareness as a concept, it looks like some fancy word or a concept where you have to do a lot of things, but it could start from something as basic as becoming aware of your breath.
It's so, I don't know about fancy, but I feel it was always a part of our culture. Like, always. I remember even in school, the reason why we start with prayers, the reason why we start our day with, even at home when we do puja, I think it's all about just closing your eyes and, saying the words that can really bring a lot of positivity around you. Even when you go to the temples, I feel the reason why you ring the big, bell is just because it does a lot to your Mooladhara chakra, and then suddenly there's an awareness, right? So I feel it has always been a part of our culture. So I don't know about fancy, but I definitely fancy our culture.
Absolutely. Fancy in a way, I was saying that in today's time, awareness sounds like a concept where you have to do a lot of things and it should look like this and it should look
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. But it could start, the journey could start by becoming aware of your own breath, just as basic as that. Start from there and then go on to more deeper levels of
Absolutely.
finding your own truth.
Absolutely.
Things that relate or that make you happy, or things that make you better about yourself, the work that you can put in to make yourself into a better version of yourself. So I think that's a good way to start your healing journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you for saying that so beautifully, Shruti. And also, thank you for coming to the podcast, to this episode. I had such a great time having you on the show.
Thank you so much. I've never heard such a beautiful voice in my life before.
Thank you so much for saying that. Wow,
I
that's a
had a
good
great
note.
time, Shubha, and I'm so glad that we didn't talk about what's happening next, and we didn't talk about our careers, and we didn't talk about those things, because we always do, even when we meet friends and family. But I'm so glad that we spoke about some things that are difficult to talk about, and sometimes it takes a lot of thought to just sit down and talk about things that are not so comfortable for other people,
Right.
right?
We talk so much about our career, about who am I, what am I building, that somewhere we start forgetting that this is not 100% me. I am not over at what my career is. My definition, my existence is not just my career or how much money I make or where do I live, my address, my bank statement. My existence is much more bigger than that.
Absolutely.
And that gives me a sense of uh, that gives me a place from where I can contribute so much more in this world.
Absolutely. A journey within is such an apt word for what we just did, because eventually it's all that, I feel. But I'm so glad you called me here today. And thank you for listening to us, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Shiva, everybody.
I think we all are a work in progress.
Absolutely.
Wishing you all the best with your journey. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Hi, everybody. My name is Shruti Dhasmana. I hope you enjoyed listening to our conversation. I am on The Journey Within by Shobha Rana. And today we have spoken about some of the topics that I usually have never spoken about on public platforms. And I hope this conversation um, helps you, or just makes a difference out there. So do listen to us, like, comment, and subscribe this channel. And I'm so looking forward to your comments.